Come Daisy, I come out and just. Yeah. From Daggett.
Love it.
Yes, 12 minutes. Agreed.
Two points.
And then she had it fixed, but I was. It's the girl, she threw it. And so I moved it. And even the other. So.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to convene the meeting and welcome members to our November Joint Valley Metro Management Committee meeting, Transit Management and Rail Management Committee. If a committee member would like to, I'll start with Pat. Will you run the roll call? Do you mind?
Yes, good morning, everyone. City of Avondale, Harold Zaguina.
Present.
City of Buckeye, Javier Stedovich. I apologize.
Present, I'm here.
He is online. City of Chandler, Ryan Peters.
Present.
City of El Mirage, Amber Wakeman. She is online. Town of Fountain Hills, Dave Trimble.
Here.
Town of Gilbert, Nathan Williams.
Here.
City of Glendale, Kevin Phelps.
Here.
City of Goodyear, Keeney Knutson. City of Mesa, Scott Butler. City of Peoria, Chris Hallett. He is on. City of Phoenix, Amber Williamson. Here. Town of Queen Creek, Shay Yoakum.
Present.
City of Scottsdale, Nathan Dome.
Here.
City of Surprise, Andrea Davis.
Here.
City of Tempe, Rosa Inchausti.
Present.
And City of Tolleson, Reyes Medrano. Chair, we have a quorum and can proceed.
Thank you, Pat. So just as a reminder to the committee, if anyone would like to ask a question or make a comment during the meeting, please type your comment in the box and it will be read out loud and answered. We ask that all meeting attendees, please mute your computer microphones or phones. So we'll move on to item number 1, public comment. The public will be provided an opportunity at this time to address the committee on non-agenda items and all action items for the joint RPTA and VMR meeting agendas. Up to 3 minutes will be given to the speakers unless the chair allows for more at their discretion. A total of 15 minutes for all speakers will be provided. And Pat, I'll look to you to see if we have any public appearances.
No, ma'am, not today.
Thank you, Pat. We'll move on to item number 2, Chief Executive Officer's Report. And I'll turn to Jessica.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I do have a few items I'd like to provide you with an update on today. The first is ridership. We've been continuing to report ridership growth across the system. Our most recent month of data is September, and we experienced a significant increase in year-over-year ridership of over 20% across the system. I want to note that our express routes are really leading the charge in terms of year-over-year growth with the 27% growth. But in terms of the absolute number of ridership, it is our local bus routes, specifically those primary arterial routes, that are really experiencing significant growth. Also seeing growth in rail system ridership. We did recently implement a service change to rail that has significantly improved the on-time performance or the reliability of that service for our customers. And we're seeing the positive result bear out in our ridership. This past month, we began our bus network redesign outreach. The bus network redesign, this is a term referencing our comprehensive operational analysis, kicked off on October 13th. We're working very closely with each of our member communities to host in-community events. We also have a virtual presence. We've received over 42,000 visits to our project website. We are collecting information via an ongoing survey through November 30th, and we've collected to date nearly 2,000 responses to that. We still have 20 more events to go with continued promotion. A couple of highlights of engagement for this work. We're reaching out to our customers and intercepting them where they are, so engaging them on our system and in pop-up community meetings. We're also partnering with local businesses like coffee shops to try and intercept people on their day-to-day lives and get their feedback. This stage of feedback is really about how the bus network does or doesn't work for our riders. So we're asking them about the good, the bad, and the ugly. At the same time, we'll take that information alongside our analysis of system performance and productivity and use that to generate a set of recommendations for the bus network redesign. We'll bring that back and work that through our member communities. This is an iterative process. Then in spring 2026, we'll actually bring that back to the public, get their feedback, and then once again, go back to the drawing board, incorporate their feedback on that draft plan and develop toward a final plan. So kudos to the team. The plan name, by the way, is Your Voice, Your Ride, really working to emphasize the role of the rider in the community in shaping the future bus network. Last week on October 29th, we had the.
I'm sorry, can I just ask a quick
Yeah,
question?
please.
The redesign. So how are expectations kind of set? So we,
Can you put your
oh, I'm so sorry. I always forget to do that. I'm just curious, going back to the redesign and on the bus network, the outreach, how is expectation set with the community on what we're hearing from their feedback? And again, as you said, it would come back to the member cities to make decisions about, can we actually do those changes?
Yeah.
I'm just wanting to understand, how will that be presented? So that we're not setting false expectations on what we can or cannot do.
Thank you, Ms. Williamson, members of the committee. So the expectation that we're presenting is a steady state funding budget. So we have the dollars that we're working with now, and the idea is to identify ways to redeploy that same service level, whether that's increased frequency in some places, it could be modifying some routing. So we're trying to keep as much in play as possible while still being cautious about communicating that cap. So this is not a sky's the limit budget for the bus network redesign. And then with our member community, so the city staff who are working on this project, who do have more familiarity with our budgetary constraints, also the constraints of regional funding that are included with respect to Prop 479, which does focus on system performance, which is a marked difference from the waning years of Prop 400 when jurisdictional equity was the prevailing funding paradigm. So city staff is aware of that. We're not getting so into the weeds with the public, but what we are conveying is it's a steady state budget plan. Now, there might be aspirational plans that would be included as possible buy-up options for communities that desire a higher level of service than what they have today. If that is the case, it would be communicated as such, though. But the foundation is a steady state budget network plan.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Jessica, I have a question, sorry. Is this including the circulators in the evaluation as well, or just the main lines.
So, Mr. Dunn, I don't believe the Scottsdale circulators are included in this network plan.
But other circulators are being looked at.
The other circulators, so we're working very closely with the cities, and so the cities are really driving, the other circulators really being today just Tempe and Scottsdale. So the cities are really driving plans for those circulators. But it's important to include them in the overall backdrop because what we are talking about is a network and network connectivity. And while the focus of this plan is the bus network, we're also thinking about bus-to-bus connections as well as bus-to-rail connections. So the backdrop of the overall system is there. But again, in those two cities where we have these circulator services, the cities are driving that.
Well, thank you. So we'll reach out and talk about
Yeah, absolutely. And Scottsdale staff is part of this. So the service planning working group, of which each of your member communities have a seat, that's the paradigm, or that's the group that's actually overseeing this work. And there are regular check-ins and report backs.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Any other questions on the bus network redesign? It's an exciting project. It's been a long time in the making, and the first network redesign that we've had in decades. So last week with our Commute Solutions team, who did a wonderful job of celebrating our clean air champions at the 38th annual Clean Air Awards campaign. This is where we recognize the employers, the coordinators, and the commuters who are embracing alternatives to single occupancy vehicles. This includes our carpool program, our vanpool program, which by the way is growing quite rapidly. We're very excited about that. It also includes the work that we do to support people in developing plans for walking and biking to work. So congratulations to the cities of Glendale, Tempe, and Mesa who were awarded at the 38th annual Clean Air Awards campaign.
Chair, I have a comment from Mr. Hallett at the City of Peoria. He would be curious to see the percentage change in paratransit ridership relative to the other categories. I'm guessing that's about the riders.
Thank you, Mr. Hallett. We can certainly provide that. I don't have the paratransit ridership in my hands, but I'd be happy to send that out as an email. I can tell you anecdotally, we've continued to see a little bit of growth in paratransit ridership. Ride Choice is the program that we continue to see the biggest growth in, and we are expanding Ride Choice in the month of December, beginning December 1, I believe, in the cities of Glendale and Peoria. So again, we should expect Ride Choice ridership growth in those two cities, and we might even see a little bit of a reduction in Glendale and Peoria in paratransit ridership in the month of December as riders transition from paratransit to Ride Choice. But I would be happy to email the committee the ridership report. And we have preliminary October ridership numbers just came in yesterday, so I'll share that. Any other questions? All right. Let's talk about security for a moment. We've got some good news to share. We've continued to provide updates on security because it is one of our primary areas of focus. We understand that our riders and our team members have to feel safe and secure when coming to work or when choosing to ride their system. We have put a lot of effort into improving the responsiveness of our security program over the last few years, and our customers have noticed. We received results of a pulse survey that we conducted over the months of September and October focused on security. This is a repeat of the same survey that we administered in late 2022 and early 2023. And the goal at that point, just as we were trying to increase our security level and make some changes, was to get a baseline understanding of our customers' experiences with the intention of coming back later, re-administering that survey so that we could measure progress. We know that we have seen significant progress in the, reduced incidents and reduced assaults across our system. So we wanted to see what are our customers experiencing. And the good news is that in all categories, we've seen significant improvement, truly improvement better than we might have even expected. I think the most salient takeaway is that 81% of our riders feel very secure or secure in riding the system. And that's up 10 points from calendar year 2022. And 82% are very likely or likely to recommend Valley Metro. So across industries, businesses often use something like a Net Promoter Score to measure their loyalty or affinity of their service or product. And I'm very pleased with an 82% Net Promoter Score in the area of sense of personal security when riding riding the Valley Metro system. Some months ago, we presented a security update to the board, and they asked at that time that we communicate this, because while our riders who are actively using the system today, they see and feel the increased presence and visibility of your local police jurisdictions, whether that's patrolling rail or collaborating with us on Operation Blue Ride, or the Hope teams in Tempe who are supporting our customers and meeting them where they're at and connecting them to services. The people who aren't riding the system don't see that. And we want to welcome more riders back to the transit system. And so later this week, you'll see us a news release. We also have a messaging kit that we'll be sharing with this committee as well as the board. And we ask for your partnership in promoting this good news so that we can welcome more members of our community and visitors back to the Valley Metro system. Any questions on security before I pivot?
I don't have any questions, but I'd like to make a comment about just congratulations to you and the team. When I was first joined this board, those numbers were not that. And Adrian Ruiz has done a great job, and the team. I know how hard it is to manage safety in cities, and especially on rail. And the numbers you provided regarding ridership, increase of ridership, obviously a correlation to the safety people are seeing or feeling.
Yeah.
So thank you.
We think so.
Yep.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Safety and security are going to continue to be a primary focus for us. This is the thing. We can't let up. We have to continue that visibility, engagement, and presence. When it diminishes, then behavior on the system changes for the worse. And so we'll continue that commitment. We are pleased with the now 40% increase we've experienced in system presence with the Intercon contract, which began on May 12th of this year. So increased presence, increased visibility, increased engagement all around. Adrian and team, kudos. That concludes my report. Oh, no, we have one other item. I don't know if Mr. Phelps has
Online.
okay, so Kevin, as you may have heard, this is a not well kept secret. Kevin Phelps is retiring as Glendale City Manager. Mr. Phelps has been a member of this committee for some time. His leadership has been instrumental in helping move Valley Metro forward. He has been a wonderful champion for our regional transit system. Glendale is one of our larger transit cities, of course. We congratulate you, Mr. Phelps, on your retirement. We have a gift for you that we will make sure to get into your hands before you depart your role in the city of Glendale, and we wish you success and happiness in your next chapter, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I have been told by Patrick, who's replacing me, they're going back to covered wagon and horse-drawn vehicles. So I can't guarantee our participation in the future.
Thank you. Thanks, Kevin. Congratulations. Poor Patrick. I'm sure he has to deal with your jokes until he takes office.
And beyond.
So we'll move on to item number 3, and we'll look at the consent agenda. And once again, the consent agenda is presented for action. I'll ask my colleagues on this call if they have any questions, or if there are any items I'd like to pull for separate consideration. I don't see any hands, and I don't see anyone asking to pull anything, so I will request a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items 3A through 3F.
So moved. Second.
That was moved by Ryan and seconded. Sorry, can't see it that far. Keeney, thank you, Keeney. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion passes. We'll move on to agenda item number 4, the wayfinding map design services contract award, and I'll ask Jessica to introduce this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The item before you is a request to authorize Valley Metro to enter into a 5-year term contract with Connect Point Incorporated for wayfinding and map design services in a not to exceed amount of $1.2 million. Hillary Foose, our Chief of Marketing Communications, is available to answer questions of the committee, should there be any.
Okay, thanks, Jessica. Any questions for Jessica?
There's a question online. Mr. Hallett from the city of Peoria. Mr. Hallett, you go ahead with your question.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, had to switch microphones. Yeah, my question, and it may come up further, and two things actually. One was the format in which we have these, even on the consent agenda. It'd be helpful if they included a table of all 5 years, so we could just see the cost per year. I know we always say the aggregate amount is this, but I think it would be helpful, especially for the board members on the next cycle of ranges here. But secondarily, I noticed price is only 10% here, and I was curious, what was the span of the pricing amongst the three, and where did the one you're recommending fall within that price range?
Thank you, Mr. Hallett. Madam Chair, I'll invite Hillary Foos to respond to your question, sir.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Mr. Hallett, thank you. I might have to get back to you in terms of, can you repeat your second question?
So the second question is around your point schedule only shows 10%
Sure.
price valuation. So I was just curious, what was the recommended applicant relative? What was the span of the pricing of all three applicants? What was this one relative? You don't have to say how much each one was. I just want to know the range, and where did this applicant fall within that range? Was it the highest, middle, or lowest?
Yeah, Mr. Hallett, we may have to provide that information. I'm also looking at our chief procurement officer who might help illuminate further. I was not part of the panel. We had a team of staff and member cities take part in that. I don't know the spread, but obviously Connect Point is being recommended not only quantitatively, but also qualitatively. They are the incumbent firm, although there has been a name change. But I don't know, we can provide more information. I don't know if that helps you make the decision today, but we'd be happy to offer more insights.
No, I'm fine with making the decision today, but as we go forward, obviously this is a recommendation to the board, and I know our board member is going to want to see this kind of format and knowledge.
Thank you. Madam Chair, Mr. Hallett, we can work through detailing a 5-year program in more detail. I heard that in your first comment, and also talk more about within our available procurement policy, more on the financials.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Foos. If I may, I do want to clarify, when we bring contracts before the committee and the board, the request is to approve the contract, and then the spend authority comes separately in the annual operating budget or the capital budget, depending on which that is.
Okay. Thank you, Hillary.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Hillary? Okay. Nothing else, Pat? Okay, so I'll look to my colleagues for a request of motion and a second to forward the Board of Directors authorization for the Chief Executive Officer to enter into a contract with Connect Point, Inc. for wayfinding map design services for a 5-year term with no options to extend the aggregate value of the contract that will not exceed $1.2 million.
I'll move approval.
That was Amber, thank you. Second?
Second.
Thanks, Nathan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to item number 5, Operations Cleaning Services Contract Amendment. And I'll ask Jessica to introduce this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm actually going to invite Ken Kessler, Chief Financial Officer, to the podium to present this information.
Thank you, Jessica. Madam Chair, members of the committee. Wrong direction. This item here before you is for an amendment to the existing cleaning services contract to extend it for 6 months. It's currently set to expire at the end of December. We're asking to extend this through the end of June to provide us with sufficient time in order to complete the procurement process. In recent board meetings, the solicitation was approved, and we anticipate issuing that solicitation sometime later this month. So we'll need some additional time to get through that procurement process and come back with a recommended award, which necessitates an amendment to the existing contract to extend through the end of the fiscal year. So here's just some information in terms of the cleaning services. This is the coverage area, the various, in terms of light rail for the light rail alignment, the streetcar alignment, and a listing of all the various facilities associated with that this contract covers in terms of cleaning. Here's some of the details on the Tempe streetcar the facilities and all the sort of the numbers there of the different things that necessitate the cleaning services. And then this is just a list of the vast majority of the services provided under the contract across all of our network. And then also do want to mention here we show just some pictures of the light rail OMC, the cleaning platform, and some passenger stations, as well as a parking ride. I also do want to mention a small portion of this contract is for the RPTA bus facility in Mesa. So this contract does provide those cleaning services for that facility as well. And so here's the recommendation before you. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ken. So I'll ask if there are any questions for Ken or Jessica on this item. I think we're good, Ken. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. I'll request a motion and a second to RMC forward to the Boards of Directors authorization for the Chief Executive Officer to execute a contract amendment with DMS Facility Services LLC to extend the contract through June 30th, 2026, and increase the aggregate value of the contract not to exceed $25,084,794. And I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Ryan. Second?
Second.
Amy, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion passes. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 6, landscaping services contract amendment, and I'll look to Jessica to introduce the item.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'll invite Rob Rosenberg, our Deputy Chief of Rail Maintenance, to provide a little bit of background on what this contract is. The item before you is the request to approve an initial 3-year contract for landscapes and paver maintenance services with, I believe this is Mariposa Landscape Arizona Incorporated, who is currently the incumbent. And I'll let Mr. Rosenberg provide a little bit of background on the scope of services that are provided across primarily the rail system, but also at our bus facilities. Mr. Rosenberg.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay. So here we're showing the coverage area for this contract when we're talking about landscaping and pavers. Of course, it is along the entire 35 miles of the alignment. 58 passenger stations. And really what's, I think, kind of interesting is that it also includes 8 miles of median in the roadway that we're responsible for maintaining. We do not provide landscape services for the Tempe streetcar. The city of Tempe takes care of that. But we do provide it for the Mesa bus operations and maintenance facility, which is approximately 22 acres. Next slide, please. This is just a slide sort of demonstrating some of the work that we're doing with this contract. Of course, all the sort of standard trimming, as well as irrigations, storm damage, storm response, which we did a lot of over the last few months, kept us quite busy. Next slide, please. And this is just a picture also demonstrating that we do cover the operations and maintenance center, all the park and rides, traction power substations. So there's a lot of different facilities that we have landscape that we're maintaining. Next slide, please. So for this, the existing contract does end at the end of this year. We went out for a full procurement and we are going to, you see the recommendation before you. But before we get to that, I just want to take a quick moment to thank David Calloway with the City of Mesa and Richard Atkins with the City of Tempe. They were both involved in the selection committee and reviewing this for us to select a winner for this contract. So I really appreciate their efforts and help. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none. Okay, then I will,
Just a comment if I could again.
oh, sure, absolutely.
Sorry, similarly, just on the previous, if we could show in the packet for the board of directors, the 5 years and then the relative, this one's 20% cost ratio, where they are relative to the total spread of the pricings that were submitted.
Sounds good. Back to the aggregate. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll get that included.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? See none. Okay. So now I'll request a motion and a second to forward to the Board of Directors authorization for the Chief Executive Officer to enter into a contract with Mariposa Landscaping Arizona, Inc. for landscaping services and paver maintenance with a 3-year initial term and 1 2-year option to extend the aggregate value of the contract that will not exceed $3,212,000. Do I hear a motion?
The City of Avondale Herald, a motion.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thanks, Brian. All in favor? I have to beg you all to
Aye.
motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Any opposed? I hear none, so that motion passes. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 7, annual insurance renewal for 25-26. And I'll ask Jessica to introduce this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to ask Michael Walro, our Chief Legal Officer, to provide a presentation of information related to our commercial property liability and workers' compensation insurance. It is insurance season, and as such, we have numbers hot off the press, a little bit better than we had initially expected. So I commend Mr. Walro and his team, please.
Thank you, Jessica. Chair, members. Insurance is maybe not exciting, but it is essential. And so we're making some recommendations. We use a broker like your cities use. It's often the same broker that many of your cities use. They will continue to negotiate with the market up until the end of our insurance cycle. And we won't bind coverage until late in November. And so they'll be negotiating up until then. That's why you see some blanks in the memos there, because what we have now are estimates, and what we'll provide to the board next week will continue to be estimates, but the numbers get more solid every day. The memo that you have before you has changed significantly in a positive way. And so I'll give you some bottom line numbers. Our 6-year average for insurance is 24% a year. We are going to hit this year with a really conservative estimate because we don't have some of the excess liability quotes yet at 13% for this year. Last year was a very good year, was an exceptional year for the agency. We had a 7% increase. This year is a good year with a 13% increase, but it falls right in the middle of what we would expect over the 6-year average. We're not recommending any changes to the coverages that we have or the amount of coverages that we have. Our actuary has found that those are all the reasonable and best move for the agency at this time. The one that, and we've seen that our rates have held pretty steady. One that I would point out is inland marine, which is our light rail vehicles. That's one of our largest lines of coverage. We're seeing right now, as of today's estimates, that rate will go down actually by 8%. The cost is going to go up, and that's because our vehicles have gone up. And that's really the main driver of why our insurance prices go up, because we continue to cover more people. more programs, more property than we had the year before. So it indicates growth of the agency, which is a good thing. But we have to cover all of those areas with insurance. The one that I want to talk about just real briefly is that excess liability line of coverage, which you noticed was a really big number. So our excess liability is made up of $100 million of insurance, which is provided by several layers and several different providers. The first layer is $10 million, and that's really our most important because that's what gets hit first in a claim that's made against the agency. Our incumbent, Munich Re, as of the memo that you had, came back with a quote that said, we will provide half of the coverage for you at the same price that you paid last year. So essentially, the cost would have gone up by 100%, and we would have had to find a partner to provide the other half, the other $5 million of that coverage, which was really moving the needle on the increases that you see in that memo. Our broker has been able to find another insurance provider, Metis, who will cover the whole line, $10 million, at the same price that we paid last year. The trade-off is that we would be moving the $750,000 deductible, we call it a self-insured retention, up to $1 million, which is reasonable and lower than industry standard, which is looking at $2 to $5 million or more for their self-insured. So I'm able to tell you today that we're going to be able to hold steady instead of that 200% increase on the excess liability. So what we're looking at is that 13% year over year increase, which puts us well within range. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Michael, for the explanation. Any questions? I think we're good, Michael. Okay, so at this point, I'll request a motion and a second to forward to the Board of Directors authorization for the Chief Executive Officer to purchase renewal coverage for Valley Metro's insurance needs as follows. Commercial property and liability insurance coverage, including workers' compensation and employers' liability from December 1st, 2025 to November 30th, 2026 for an amount not to exceed to be determined at a later date. RPTA's obligation is and will be determined. BMR's obligation will be also determined at a later date, as Michael has explained. And I'll look to my colleagues for a motion and a second.
I'll move approval.
Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to item number 8, travel and expenditures. Are there any questions from the committee? And this, once again, is not for action, it's just information. Okay. Then we'll move on to item number 9, report on current events and suggested future agenda items. And I'll ask my members for any committee recommendations, current events, or suggested future agenda items for consideration. Quiet bunch, so nothing to report on that. So then we'll look to next meeting. And the next meeting will be of the TMC RMC is scheduled for Wednesday, January 7th, 2026 at 11 a.m. And I will look to a motion to adjourn the meeting. Thanks, Kimmy.
Second.
Someone, Brian, second. All in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
Any opposed? All in favor? Okay, so that passes adjourned at 11:38. Did we lose them? Oh, there we go. We're back. Okay. We lost you there for a moment. I'd like to convene the Transit Management Committee meeting for November 5th at 11 a.m. or 11:38. We'll convene with the welcoming to the members. Welcome back. And I'll look at item number 1, a consent agenda. And once again, this consent agenda is presented for action. I'll ask the committee if there are any questions or would like to pull anything for separate consideration or discussion.
Mr. Hallett has his hand.
Chris?
Yes.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I don't know if we need to pull it or not, but just a quick comment on 1D. If, and it may be something separate, but one of the things we're noticing a broker and a transit operator. So this is about resoliciting a new transit operator. Is there any consideration of taking a brokerage in-house in combination with that? So I don't know if that's just a comment. As we go forward to the board, I think it will come up again. So I would want to register that before. I don't think it changes the consent agenda, but I just wanted to comment on that before we take a vote.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Jessica?
Thank you, Mr. Hallett, Madam Chair, for that question. The item before you in 1D is a request to issue an RFP for paratransit operations and maintenance service. That's the contract that's currently held by MTM. MTM did notify us in September that they do not wish to exercise option years on the contract, at least as it's currently defined. This is a contract that does require mutual agreement from both parties to enter into any of the contract option years. We are currently having conversations with MTM about the nature of our contract. There are a couple of items in play. For example, today MTM holds the lease on that facility. There's a lease on a facility in Gilbert. There's a lease on a facility in Peoria. There could be an opportunity, for instance, for Valley Metro to take over that lease, as we have done similarly on the West Valley bus operations and maintenance contract that we hold with National Express. So I want to just be transparent about the conversations that are happening there. Now, there is a separate contract for brokerage services. So this is the booking and the dispatching services for paratransit. That is currently held by MJM, different company. And we are having internal conversations about a number of functions about insourcing that. That's not before the committee for consideration today, but I can tell you, and I know city staff who are following along on the Accessible Transportation Partners meetings are aware of some of the challenges that we've had with the creation of those trips and schedules, which really drives a lot of not just customer satisfaction and trip timeliness, but also our service productivity. So what I am at liberty today to say is that that's an ongoing conversation. That contract is not up for renewal or reconsideration at this moment. Does that answer your question, Mr. Hallett?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, then we'll move forward and I'll request a motion and a second to approve consent agenda items 3A through F, DF.
I'll move approval.
Thanks, Amber.
Second.
Thank you, Nathan. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. We'll move on to item number 2, compressed natural gas operations and facility maintenance contract amendment. And Jessica, would you like to introduce this item?
I would, thank you. Getting a cue from staff. I'd like to invite Greg Thompson, Deputy Chief of Bus and Van Maintenance, to the podium to discuss the C&G maintenance contract, which is focused on the Mesa bus operations and maintenance facility. Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Jessica. Madam Chair, members of the committee, good day. Staff is recommending that the TMC forward to the Board of Directors the authorization for the Chief Executive Officer to execute a contract amendment with Clean Energy Fuels for a single 2-year extension, increasing the aggregate value of the contract for amount not to exceed $1,611,200.
The purpose of the compressed natural gas fueling station is to provide safe, reliable, and cost-effective source of fuel for Valley Metro's CNG fleet, and specifically at the Mesa facility. The station enables daily fueling operations to be performed efficiently, supporting the agency's commitment to safety, sustainability, and operational excellence. Valley Metro currently compresses and dispenses approximately 2 million therms of natural gas at the Mesa facility. And having clean energy perform maintenance on the Valley Metro CNG fueling station is critical to support that mission. Clean Energy is the original equipment provider and has the specialized expertise, certifications, and resources required to properly maintain complex CNG stations. Clean Energy also provides preventative and corrective maintenance programs that minimize downtime and ensure fueling capability is always available. Next page. This slide, sorry, back. And this slide kind of shows some pictures of the outside of the CNG station. The inside starts showing the 150 horsepower motors and some of the piping. It's quite a complex system. Clean Energy has, because of all of the things that go into that, they have the proprietary technical data, replacements, parts, and any system upgrades that need to happen. Staff completed a comprehensive pricing analysis, and it was determined that the pricing provided by Clean Energy was fair and reasonable based on contract values awarded from other transit agencies. Table 1 in your packet reflects the annualized cost for year 1 through 5. Then it also adds the 2-year extension of $480,700, bringing the total contract value to $1,611,200. $1,611,200. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you. I'll look to the committee. Oh, there we go. You have a question?
Yes, I just want to comment actually, so I want to thank
Okay.
you. That table 1 is exactly kind of what I was looking for in these summary recommendations in the packet. So just wanted to comment on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, well then I'll look to my colleagues for a request a motion and a second to forward to the Board of Directors authorization for the Chief Executive Officer to execute a contract amendment with Clean Energy Fuels Corporation to extend the contract through June 30th, 2028, and increase the aggregate value of the contract not to exceed $1,611,200.
Harold, City of Avondale, motion.
Thank you. Thanks, Harold. Do I hear a second?
Guess I'll second again.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to item number 3, East Valley Fixed Route Service Contract Amendment. And Jessica, if you don't mind.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Tom Young, our Deputy Chief of Bus and Paratransit Operations, to the podium for this item. This is a request for the committee to consider advancing to the board exercise of the first option year, which is a 4-year option year period on the Keolis East Valley Bus Operations and Maintenance Contract. This contract began on January 1 of 2024. It is one of our largest operations and maintenance contracts. We had significant involvement from member city staff in the scoping of that contract, and we also have ongoing, specifically monthly engagement via our East Valley Subregional meeting regarding monitoring the performance of the contract. I can see that we had a rough start with Keolis in a number of different areas. We have since implemented several different performance improvement plans on the contract. We're making progress. And as such, we are recommending that the committee advance this to the board for consideration. I want to ask Tom to provide a presentation. I think it's important that we have a conversation about where we're at with respect to performance, where we've been, and where we're heading from here. Tom.
Thank you, Jessica. I'd see if my voice will work here this morning. Madam Chair, members of the Transit Management Committee, as Jessica mentioned, this is a recommendation for the contract amendment to East Valley fixed route services with Keolis Transit Services LLC. East Valley is, once again, Jessica said that the service actually commenced on January 1, 2024. It included a 3-year base contract with 2 options to extend, a 4-year and a 3-year option respectively. The current base contract is scheduled to expire on December 31st, 2026. So over the past 22 months of operations, Keolis has made significant service improvements on most major key performance indicators, both from their first year to second year of service and over the previous provider. The specific areas include the increased on-time performance, decreased preventable accidents, increase in distance between road failures, and improved preventative maintenance inspections. In addition, they've made major strides forward on implementation of a reliability-centered maintenance program. I think we're both hitting it forward. Sorry, Pat. Areas still needing some improvement. We're closely monitoring and working with Keolis to ensure continuous improvements. Some of the areas we're working on include ensuring proper operator scheduling to cover absenteeism, which resulted in only 278 of 92,000 hours of service being missed, or 0.3% in the month of October. We're proactively working on areas where a high number of fixed object collisions, primarily not that construction is going on anywhere in the valley, but a lot of them are happening in construction areas. And continuing to assist in evaluating areas of maintenance that are impeding service quality and causing service interruptions, which once again has shown significant improvement over the last 3 months. In our evaluation of performance, we looked at benefits and challenges of extending the contract versus reprocuring the contract. In short, we saw the benefits of extending the contract and continuing the forward progress made service improvements far exceeding reprocuring, with the potential of starting all over with a new contractor. In addition, recent contract procurements within the Southwest region have consistently showed approximately a 10 to 15% increase over the current costs of the Keolis contract agreement. So after review and evaluation, staff is recommending the TMC forward to the Board of Directors authorization for the Chief Executive Officer to execute a contract amendment with Keolis Transit Services LLC to extend the current contract through December 30th, 2030. If I did my math, that doesn't sound possible. Aggregate value of $816,469,425, which does also include the first 3 years of operation. I can answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions for Tom? Yes, Mr. Hallett.
Sorry to be a pest, but
No, not at all.
similarly, if for the board of directors, are we going to have that total table like on the last one from years 1, 2, and 3 all the way through the 4-year, just to show that total cost and how it's graduating? And then additionally, maybe for the presentation, appreciated seeing the performances, but might want to see them over the time to see if they're trending up or trending down, just to prove positive. I do think I'd like to capture on the pros and cons of extending versus reprocuring, that those are notable things to exemplify. And I think that would be good for the board to see as well. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll make those adjustments, definitely.
Any other questions or comments? Tom, I have one on behalf of the city of Tempe. While we're going to approve the contract, and I already spoke with Jessica earlier, just making sure that the staffing levels are still a concern and not meeting the goal, right? We had some missed routes on October 24th is my understanding, and anything that they can do to increase the staffing levels. We're just worried about the impact that it does have on certain days.
Thank you for that comment. We actually meet with Keolis every Friday. The biggest issue right now is reviewing the absenteeism, where we're trying to make adjustments, not only to make sure their extra board is set up properly where the absences are occurring, but also planning for other attrition because of the absenteeism that's occurring, to ensure that they're not lapsing in getting classes going forward, not realizing the projection of what attrition may be. So one of the areas I think that's exciting for me as I watch them, they have almost 2 years of data right now. And one of the things they saw in 2 years in a row is February and March are the highest areas of absenteeism. So they're already planning for hiring and training to ensure they have the adequate staff for February and March next year. So,
Okay, thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Okay. So seeing no other comments or questions, I'll request a motion and a second to forward to the Board of Directors authorization for the Chief Executive Officer to execute a contract amendment with Keolis Transit Services LLC to extend the contract through December 30th, 2030, and increase the aggregate value of the contract not to exceed $816,469,425. I'll look to the committee for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Thank you, Ryan.
Okay.
Thank you, Kimi. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to item number 4, report on current events and suggested future agenda items. I'll ask any members for any reports or current events that they would like to share with the group or future agenda items. I didn't expect it since it's not a chatty group. So moving on to item number 5, next meeting. Meeting will be January 7th, 2025 at 11 a.m. So we'll see each other next year. I will take a motion to adjourn the meeting at 11:56. Anyone?
I'll move approval to.
Thank you, Ann. Any second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? None, probably. Okay, meeting is adjourned at 11:56.
All right. You ready? Yep. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and we'll convene the Rail Management Committee for today, November 5th. Welcome to our committee members. Item 1, I'll do that. Item 1 is the consent agenda. It is presented today for action. Are there any requests to pull any of the items for separate discussion? All right, hearing none, then I would request a motion and a second to approve consent agenda items 1A through 1C.
I motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, item 2, I'm going to ask Jessica to introduce the item for vendor managed inventory contract award.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to invite Rob Rosenberg. Rob is our Deputy Chief of Rail Maintenance to the podium.
Thank you, Jessica, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Next slide, please. So the vendor managed inventory, that's the mechanism for us to be able to replace parts for the Siemens S700 vehicles as we use them. So what we do is we have a contract with Siemens. As we use parts, we are able to replenish them from their stock. We strictly use Siemens for a couple different reasons. One, they have all the material that we need. 2, these cars still have warranty provisions on them and we need to maintain the warranty. Next slide, please. So This contract also, just it should be noted that the value of this contract is not, we're not saying we're going to spend that money. It's just a mechanism to allow us to replenish parts. We're still evaluating the final dollar amount on this contract. So what I'm hoping for is by the time we go to the board, we're going to actually reduce the ask that we're asking for now. So we feel we're not 100% there, but we feel pretty good. We're going to be able to reduce this closer to $800,000 instead of the $1 million mark, but that will be revised prior to the board meeting. I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Okay, hearing none, then I would request a motion and a second to forward to the Board of Directors authorization for the Chief Executive Officer to enter into a contract with Siemens Mobility to supply and manage inventory of original equipment, manufacturer parts for the Siemens S700 light rail vehicle fleet with a 5-year term with no options to extend. The aggregate value of the contract will not exceed $1,100,000. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We have a motion and approval. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, item 3, I'll also be asking Jessica to introduce this item for manufacture and delivery of Siemens Light Rail Vehicle Contract Award.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In July, we executed a contract with Siemens for the manufacture and purchase of 3 light rail vehicles. One of those was to replace a vehicle that was totaled in 2021. 2 of those are to support our current level of service. On September 14th, just a couple of months after we executed that contract with Siemens, a light rail vehicle was involved in a crash with a semi-truck at 18th and Washington. That light rail vehicle is totaled and no longer available for revenue service. We've been working closely with Rail City staff and also with Siemens to try to work to increase the quantity from that 3-car order to a 4-car order so that we can purchase this vehicle. We know that the vehicle has to be replaced. We also know that the cost and economies of scale we would experience, or lack of economies of scale rather, if we did a single car purchase would not be advantageous to Valley Metro Rail and our member communities. And so the item before you is a request to enter into technically a separate contract with Siemens for a 4th rail car. It would be added to the build of the other 3 cars. There's quite a bit of setup costs associated with any vehicle build. So the larger the quantity, the lower the unit cost, essentially. So this would be delivered in quick sequence with the other 3 rail vehicles. I've invited Darren Curry, our Chief Maintenance Officer, to answer any questions you may have. It's unusual that we would have a light rail vehicle totaled, but while we have this procurement vehicle open, we want to avail ourselves of that opportunity. What questions may we answer?
Any questions from the committee?
I do not have any questions.
It's not so much a question, just again, a comment on how impressed I was with Valley Metro and our city team for responding to that incident. Unfortunate that it happened, but such a quick response, and this sounds like a smart strategy. So if there aren't any other questions, then I would request a motion and a second to forward to the Board of Directors authorization for the Chief Executive Officer to enter into a contract with Siemens Mobility for 1 S700 low-floor articulated light rail vehicle with a 5-year initial term and 1 2-year option to extend. The aggregate value of the contract will not exceed $9,373,000. Can I have a motion and a second for approval?
I motion.
And I second.
All right, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes. All right, item 4 on the agenda, thank you, is report on current events and suggested future agenda items. Are there any reports or current events or any requests for future agenda items from the committee?
Nothing for me.
Okay, hearing none, then item 5, our next meeting will be on January 7th. That's a Wednesday at 11 a.m. Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I motion.
Second?
Second.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Wow.